Right, today we're going to study it's quite a simple sutta. Actually, it's a overlapping of two suttas. The Vasijata Sutta, the ace handle. Ace is a kind of axe, handle of the axe. It's also called Nāvā Sutta. And this is from Samyutta 22.101. And Nāvā, also Nāvā means ship, boat, Bhāvanā Sutta, the ship discourse on mental cultivation, Anguttara 7.67. So these two suttas overlap. This sutta is about how to meditate, how to practice, basically. It's the Buddha's advice to us about prayer, hoping, and practice. So in this connection, I'm going to relate to you what happened to me recently with my eye problem and how this is connected with the sutta. Okay? Because suttas are intimately connected with our lives. Or we should try to see how this connection, how there is this connection, what we can learn, what we can practice, in other words. As we age, of course, anything can happen to any part of our body. Since I was a teenager, since I was a young monk even, there was this doctor who told me there was a little bit of something rather odd at the back of my eye in the retina, like a little bulge. So for decades it seems okay, there's no problem. Then recently the eye specialist said, well, the skin is becoming a bit obtrusive and it's affecting the vision a bit. And true enough, when I look at something, the words all get distorted. So the doctor said, okay, operate, and it was operated, and that layer of skin is removed. And that all went well. Of course, eye operation, this is a very complicated eye operation. It's called a vitrectomy. Vitrectomy, vitreous, that means the eye inside the eye. The two probes that they're put inside the eye, one is for the light, the other is a kind of like a laser, and to remove a layer of skin. I suppose everything went well, but eye operation can be really painful after that. So you heal only maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now, what I want to say is two rather frightening incidents here related to this sutta. After the operation, I have to see the doctor very often. I even went for emergency consultation because of the difficulties I went through. So during one of the observations, during one of the consultations, the doctor took pictures of the back of my eye, the retina, and it took very big, clear picture. And she came to the conclusion that she told me, I'm sorry to tell you, there is this retina detachment at the back of your eye. I told myself, oh no, I never thought this would happen. And I said, well, okay, that's it. It happens, it happens. And this is the best place to happen, in the university hospital. So just took it like that. And then she asked me, did you take your meal? Do you drink water? Because what she's suggesting is that this sort of thing you got to be operated on as soon as possible. And then this went to the next higher level and then to the senior consultant. And of course, there was a bit of agonizing fear, a bit of apprehension. To cut the long story short, the senior consultant looked at everything carefully again. Of course, you have to wait for a few hours for all these things. General hospitals, we didn't go for a private hospital. And finally came the good news. The doctor said, no, it's not retinal detachment. Okay, it's just a flap, and it will heal itself. Okay, so that's one episode over. And the next few days, the doctor look at it again and say, okay, yes, that little bit of protrusion is closing up, is healing. Now, the really scary part is on Wednesday, last Wednesday, the doctor examined me. And then after that, I saw this, like there is this darkening shadow in my eye. I thought it's because it shone the bright light to my eyes, and then the eye kind of, dazzled a bit. But then the vision started darkening. Anyway, it's time to go home, so I came back. By the time I reached home, I find that I can't see anything. In my right eye, it's all 100% black, and this is not normal, and it got me a little worried. So I thought, and I said, wow, I think we better go back, because we are allowed to go back anytime before 3, go and consult the doctors. If you go after 3, be regarded as emergency, you have to pay emergency fees. So before 3, it's normal consultation. So we went back, and fortunately, they knew what to do exactly. This is the good thing about University Hospital. Again, cut a long story short, they put the IV drip. It's so bad this time, they have to put an intravenous drip to bring down the pressure. So what has happened here is that the eye pressure has gone up to the highest, near the highest possible, 44 to 46. Normal human eye pressure is about 10, 21, and it gives you a real headache when you have this high pressure. So you can imagine when I had this blindness, this is blindness. You don't see anything. It's all black. Well, you do see something, but it's black. You see blackness. You see darkness. But there's nothing there. So I told myself, wow, this is really bad. This is really bad. So I did a little bit of a kind of prayer. We call it an act of truth. I just sat down quietly to myself. The Buddha is true, the Dharma is true, the Sangha is true. By this power, may I heal quickly, may I not be blind. I just said that like that, quietly. And then let the doctor do their job. So the idea is, I told myself, okay, that's the way things are. And this is what I feel is best done. Okay, so anyway, again, everything is done in the hospital. And then they put in the IV drip. They put the medicine intravenously, and then they give me some new medicine to bring down the pressure. The thing is, there is one medicine which needs to prevent inflammation of the eye, and that medicine brings up the pressure. So you got to take another medicine to bring down the pressure. So there's all these half a dozen kinds of medicine. So you begin to notice, it's very interesting how the body works. The pressure goes up, goes down, and you see a bit of shadow, and the shadow disappears, and all this, how the medicine works. So you begin to know the way the body works. You begin to accept it as it is. Of course, you begin to treasure it. You begin to understand the value of it. You begin to understand the short term that it gives you, the time that you have to work. So, and as this went on, 11 days passed. Okay? Then I can't exert myself for 3 weeks, no exercises. I decided it's going to help me put on some weight. So I'm waiting for that 2 weeks to be over to go back to my exercises. So currently, of course, I have to eat less. and just do a bit of gentle walking and so on. Okay, so my point in telling this story is, when is it a prayer? When is it an act of truth? Because the suttas always tell us prayers don't work. You can't just pray for things, especially frivolous things like, I strike $1 million lottery. That is frivolous. It's bribery. Sometimes you worry so much that something so important to you, you pray. So if it's a matter of life and death, it's something that is so important to you, an act of truth is what needs to be done. Especially, let's say you have done nothing wrong and someone accuses you of this unjustly of something wrong. Then you either openly or yourself say, by the fact that I did not do this, by the truth of this, may everything clear up. Something positive, no negative implications. Or something very simple like, the Buddha is true, the Dhamma is true, the Sangha is true. By this truth, may whatever, good wishes, something like that. So in other words, here we are reflecting on something true, and our mind is focused on it. So we are removing the worry that is there because of our ignorance, and we are letting the course of nature take its course, and the right people to help you and everything will kind of take its course, basically. All right. So that's how we work as Buddhists, to understand our body and live with ourselves, understanding nature of life. Okay, with that as background, let's look at this sutta now. And then later you can ask me questions. Now, first of all, you can look at the picture on page 68. What is an ace? The word is pronounced as ace, A-D-Z-E. Okay, here you are. Now notice this is an ace, it's got a handle. It looks like an X, but the head is horizontal. In fact, this ace is much older than an X. It is said to go back to the Stone Age. Even in the Stone Age, our ancestors used the kind of sharp stone as an ace for various purposes. So here you can see it's for working with wood. So this is the ace. It's normally used in boat building, shipbuilding, ancient times, right? So of course here the star is talking about the ace handle. The shipbuilder holds the handle for very often for years, no? The handle here, and the monk is made there. So that's what the parable is about. So let's look at this teaching here. Okay, let's go on to page 70 now. Make sure you have the latest sutta, by the way. The latest one has just been uploaded online, and the latest one's got this picture. If you don't have this picture, that means it's not the latest one. Make sure you get the latest one, which is online. Vasijata Sutta. I think it's something a bit down, a bit up more. Yes, okay. Vasijata Sutta, the discourse on the ace handle. Vāsi is ace, jaṭa is handle. S22.101. At Savatthi. Bhikshus, I say that the destruction of the influxes is for one who knows and sees, not for one who knows not and sees not. Okay, here the Buddha is basically telling the monks the arhat. If one wants to become an arhat, it is to destroy the influxes. He has to know and see, all right? So this is a short form of saying it. Influxes here is often used in the early suttas. Influx, that means inflow of information and defilements through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And this causes us to think and do things, create karma, and so on. And especially to have sense desire, to go on existing in this life, and to continue in ignorance, and also have views. Okay, so those are the influxes. Influxes are basically sense desire, existence, ignorance. Okay, and in the later suttas, number 3 is added in as views. Views, so becomes 4. Asava, they're called asavas in Pali. Okay, it's only the notes. Okay, not 22. So the destruction of the asavas makes one an arahat. One who knows and sees. Why you have 2 words here? Knows, that means he understands the nature of life. Sees, that means he experiences it for himself. We don't just understand, we also have experienced it, in other words. And bhikshus, knowing what? Seeing and seeing what? Does the destruction of influxes come about? Such is form, such is its arising, such is its passing away. Such is feeling, such is its arising, such is its passing away. Such is perception, such is its arising, such is its passing away. Such is formation, such is their arising, such is their passing away. Such is consciousness, such is its arising, such is its passing away. So these are basically the 5 aggregates, right? So this teaching is based on the 5 aggregates model. Bhikshus, thus it is for one who knows thus, who sees thus, that the destruction of the influxes comes about. Right? In other words, we understand the nature of body and mind. So there are many ways of putting it, in other words, right? So we are looking at the Four Noble Truths also, right? Remember the truth of suffering, the last one, the most important one says that is the 5 aggregates. Okay, so here is highlighted. Okay, so this first part is from the Vasijata Sutta. Now, in the rest of the Vasijata Sutta, it also appears in another sutta called the Nāvā Bhāvanā Sutta, the ship discourse on cultivation. Right, so you see the same words. It shows that this teaching is very popular. Okay, let's go further down. Number 5. Bhikshus, even though a monk who does not devote himself to mental cultivation might wish, oh, that my mind might be free from the influxes of non-clinging. But his mind would still not be freed from the influxes by non-clinging, right? So here the Buddha is warning us, saying, if you do not practice, you can go on saying it. In other words, like puja, you go on saying, by this you'll be awakened, by this you gain this, by this you gain that. Sounds very nice. You even do chanting, parita chanting, all this very powerful and blessing. You can chant all this, but there'll be no awakening. You will not be freed from the influxes through non-clinging. You will not become arhats. You will not overcome suffering, in other words. All right, it's a magical thing, all this puja and chanting. All right, so the Buddha says, basically, you need to devote yourself to some practice. But this first part is a negative part. If you do not devote yourself to mental cultivation, you don't develop your mind, you will not be able to overcome suffering. So you have to start with developing the mind, because that's where the suffering starts. Further down, what is the reason for this? Why is this so? Because his mind is not cultivated, should be the answer. The mind is not cultivated in what? Okay, here there's a list of the seven sets, totaling 37 limbs of awakening. because of not cultivating in the 4 focuses of mindfulness. I'm only going to read the last middle part here, okay? In the 4 right striving, 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of success, the 4 spiritual faculties, in the 5 spiritual powers, in the 7 factors of awakening, in the Noble Eightfold Path. I mean, you don't have to do all the 37. They're all interconnected. You just need to do one of them at least. For example, the most popular is the 4 focuses of mindfulness, for example, or practice the Noble Eightfold Path, right? You choose one. They're all interconnected. Then the Buddha gives a parable of the chicken hatching eggs, how the practice is done, proper practice. Suppose bhikshus, a hen has 8, 10, or 12 eggs that she has not properly set on, not properly incubated, not properly brooded. Even though the hen may wish, oh, that my chicks might break out of the shell, might break the shell with their claw tips or with their beaks and hatch out safely. Yet the chicks are still incapable of breaking through their shells with their claw tips, with their beaks, and hatch out safely. Notice here in this parable is very interesting how the Buddha knows how the little chicks break through the eggshells. Apparently, these little chicks, their shell has got a little cover which strengthens the tip, and they break through the eggshell from inside and then they come out. What is the reason for this? Because the hen is not properly set on, not properly incubated, not properly brooded them enough for hatching. Right? So the mother didn't hatch the eggs properly enough. But here, the chicken and the eggs, the hen and the eggs are regarded as one idea. You know? Notice, even so, says the Buddha, bhikshus, even though a monk who does not devote himself to mental cultivation might wish, oh, that my mind might be free from the influxes. By non-clinging, his mind would still not be freed from the influxes by non-clinging. What is the reason for this? Further down, please. Yeah. Because of not cultivating the 4 focuses of mindfulness. In the 4 right strivings, the 4 bases of success, in the 4 spiritual faculties, the 5 spiritual powers, the 7 factors of awakening, in the Noble Eightfold Path. All right. So that's the negative aspect. Right? Now we have the positive aspect. Mental cultivation takes its own course. What if you practice? Bhikshus, even though a monk who devotes himself to mental cultivation might not wish, oh, that my mind might be free from the influxes of non-clinging. But his mind would still be freed from the influxes by non-clinging. Okay, further down, please. Yeah. What is the reason for this? Because of not cultivating. Cancel the not. Because of cultivating the 4 focus of mindfulness in the right strivings, in the 4 bases of success, in the 5 spiritual faculties, in the 5 spiritual powers, in the 7 spiritual 7 factors of awakening in the Noble Eightfold Path. And then the Buddha uses the parable of the hen properly incubating the eggs. Suppose bhikshus, a hen has 8, 10, or 12 eggs, which she has properly set on, properly incubated, properly brooded, though the hen may not wish, oh, that my chicks might not break the shell with their claw tips or with their beaks and hatch out safely. Yet the chicks are still capable of breaking through their shells with their claw tips and their beaks and hatch safely. What is the reason for this? Because the hen has properly set on, properly incubated, properly brooded them enough for hatching. Even so, bhikshus, though a monk devotes himself to mental cultivation, might not wish, oh, that my mind might be free by the influxes, by non-clinging. His mind will still be freed from the influxes by non-clinging. In other words, no need to wish, just practice. What is the reason for this? Because his mind is cultivated, should be the answer. The mind is cultivated in what? Because the mind is cultivated in the 4 focuses of mindfulness, in the 4 right strivings, in the 4 bases of success, in the 5 spiritual faculties, in the 5 spiritual powers, in the 7 awakening factors, in the Noble Eightfold Path. So you can choose any of these sets to practice. So let's just look at this. What so far, what's the Buddha trying to say? If you practice the Dharma, let's say while you're meditating, you don't have to wish for this and wish for this. It may be enlightened, may be enlightened. You just do it. Right? So another example is like when you're cooking. And when you're cooking something, you don't say, may this cook, may this cook. You just cook. You just do it. And it happens, that action happens. You don't have to wish anything. So the idea is doing it. You don't have to wish anything. Now we come to the famous parable of the carpenter's A's handle. All right. So here, let me explain first before we read the parable. Huh? Now you will notice that sometimes when these handles of certain wooden instrument that you use, if you keep on using it, especially the workers, they keep on using it, after a while, the handle will bear grooves and a mark where the hand holds it. And I notice especially this, you notice you go to the fruit seller, they have this rather sharp knife. And this knife becomes almost like a curve, like a crescent-shaped knife. And you know that kind of knife, you don't get it overnight. You know, you have to sharpen it over a long time. And with that, they can peel the fruit very nicely. So, in other words, they've been using it for many years. And they've been sharpening and sharpening until you get that really nice, sharp curve. And the handle of some wooden handle of some instrument, especially for chopping, is being used by, say, carpenters. And you find the mark of the worker's hand the carpenter's holding it, somehow is there. And this parable says that it's something you don't see happening overnight. It will take a long time, many years. Even then, you don't notice these marks growing on the handle. It slowly grows there and is permanent. So these are examples on how our practice has an effect on us. We just keep on doing it, and slowly, slowly, we build up this kind of mastery. This shows putting in effort, directing our mind, and then you see the result. So these are wonderful reflections. So next time you see that hawker's knife, you see that carpenter's tool handle, you see that handle, hand mark, and so on. You say, wow, this worker has been using this instrument for so long. And it's amazing how they work. And they work very hard. And it shows this is how we should practice the Dharma also. Now I'm going to stop here for a while, for 5 minutes, then we come back at 9 o'clock. All right, so now we come to the parable, the Buddha's parable of the carpenter's ace handle. This is the theme of the sutta itself. 18. Now suppose bhikshus, remember when the Buddha said bhikshus, is talking to us, okay? A carpenter or a carpenter's apprentice has an ace and its handle shows the marks of his fingers and thumbs. He will not know that so much of the handle has worn away today, so much yesterday, and so much at other times. But he will know that from what is worn away, that it has worn away. Right? So all he can only know is he looks, say, wow, okay, his marks of his hand is there. Even so, bhikshus, it is with a monk, with any of us who practices, who devotes himself to mental cultivation, even though he has no knowledge of how much of the influxes have worn away today, how much yesterday, and how much at other times, he will know what is wasted away that have wasted away. In other words, he will know those things which have been overcome. Okay, further down, conclusion. Parable of the ocean-going ship. Okay, so here we have a lot about ships, no? Because India, in the Buddhist time, you see the Indians leaving India, coming to Southeast Asia during the monsoons. And that's when the Indians came with trading and brought their culture here. Suppose bhikshus, an ocean-going ship rigged with masts and stays, having been worn out by the water for 6 months, were to be hauled up onto dry land for the cold season. The ropes that have been worn out by the sun, wind and sun, thoroughly soaked by the rains, would easily weaken and waste or rot away. Even so, bhikshus, it is with the monk who devotes himself to mental cultivation, his fetters will easily weaken and waste away. So here the Buddha uses the ships that travel the ocean. The strong ropes have been weathered, and when they come back to land, the ropes are weakened. They need to change the ropes already because the ropes break very easily, even though the ropes are huge and strong. So even the strongest rope can be broken because of weather. So here, the theme of this sutta is constant practice, and you find even a bit of practice, you may not notice immediately what's happening, but the changes are there. Okay. Okay. So I'll end here and then we see questions. I'll try to answer some questions for you. Okay.
Okay, Sister Isim, please take over the session for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ratna. Thank you, Brother Piya, for the Sutta teaching. The first question from Brother Tom. Please speak a little about insight knowledge.
Okay. Very simply, when we say insight knowledge is vipassana knowledge. It refers to understanding the nature of impermanence. That's one. Not only understanding, but experiencing it, seeing it. Remember, knowing and seeing. There is always a danger in knowing, especially in modern times. Buddhists have become like walking encyclopedias. They just know this, know that, and they go around arguing, fighting with each other. And that's rather odd, because that's not the way it is meant. The idea is to see ourselves change by this understanding, see ourselves become humble because of this learning, see ourselves happy and ready to help and teach others with this understanding, right? So that experience is very important of impermanence, to console people, telling them the nature of impermanence and how to cope with it, how to connect with people, to have friends, to have fellowship. Spiritual friendship is a very important aspect of Buddhist living. And this is to cut down the suffering which impermanence bring us, right? So the knowledge of impermanence, that is insight knowledge, also brings in compassion. Right? So in other words, when you see impermanence, you also understand it brings suffering. And impermanence brings suffering. That's the second insight knowledge. It brings pain because we lose things with which we were once familiar. We were young ones, now we are old. We're healthy ones, now we're not so healthy. We have this, now we don't, and so on. Then you find impermanence and suffering. The teacher says this, there is nothing really you can own and can say, this is what I've done. For example, let's say all the work I've done, and all these suttas and so on, so many volumes. When it comes to the end of the world, when the universe revolves, all this will be gone. You got to start all over again, right? So it's not about how many volumes I've written. It's the fact that I've done it and I've learned something from it. It's the fact that you have read it, you have practiced it, you have understood it, you've shared it with people, you've made friends with it, then you have lived the Dharma. Not just knowing things, not just saying, oh, I know this teacher, I know this teaching, but being happy and sharing the Dharma in this way, bringing happiness to others. That is the idea, the essence behind non-self. The idea behind non-self is to connect ourselves with others, because we are really this network of minds. We are this interconnection of numerous minds, all our minds, all of us here, our minds are interconnected, our hearts are interconnected. That's why we are studying the sutta, and that's what happens when we study the sutta. And that's how we grow, that's how we feel happy, that's how we become wiser. Because this is a learning internet, if you like, a learning connection of this vast network of minds, right? So Vipassana knowledge has this amazing, profound wisdom to this. Impermanence, suffering, non-self. So reflect on this, all right? Okay.
Thank you, Brother Piya.
Yes.
The next question from Sister Helene. How do we practice the 4 Iddhipada basis of success to accomplishment? Can you please provide some examples on
Okay.
how to practice in lay life?
Okay, Iddhipada is sometimes translated as path of success, path of power, all right? You can translate either way. The first is chanda, concentration, intent of it. You direct your mind towards something you want to do, like willpower, if you like. You want to do something, you direct your mind to it. You have a purpose, you focus, you do it, right? And then you direct your energy to it. You direct your energy, your effort to it. And your mind is focused. In other words, you keep on building up this mind, because the mind is the one that builds up your energy to grow by yourself with wisdom. And the more you see, the more you know, the more you grow. And then there is this is how you build up your citta, the mind, okay? By vimamsa. Vimamsa means investigating. And once you notice all this, you investigate what's going on here. What is this? And you begin to see, for example, insight knowledge again, impermanence, suffering, not self. So that's another way of putting it. All right. You can look up. There are some more detailed notes in the Sutta discovery. In the Dictionary of Early Buddhism, there are some notes you can look up there. If you can't find the dictionary, just message us. We'll send you the dictionary. We'll send you the notes. Okay, if you want it, everything is there. All the suttas, the list of suttas. All right. Any more questions?
Thank you, Brother Piya. Yes, the next question from Brother Maya.
Yes.
Brother Piya, which meditation method do you personally practice?
Well, my practice is very simple. I follow what most commonly done: loving breath and loving kindness. And those are the two main ones because they're the ones the Buddha recommends the most. It depends on the station. Sometimes we have this perception of light if you're sleepy. Perception of light is quite easy. You just sit in a bright place and then you'll be aware of bright light, you know. I like perception of space. So if I have a chance, let's say you go to this really spacious place like this say like on top of Mount Faber or Sentosa, you're on some high place and then you see this really huge spacious ocean, and you just feel this space in front of you, and then you feel it in your mind, space. So this helps you to feel the spaciousness, and you can use it in your meditation when you feel sleepy or your meditation is not working. So this helps. Okay, so these are a few methods I use. And of course, you can use any methods you like. I mean, for example, even like if someone you see someone has passed away, you reflect on death on this person. Okay, so it's good to know, at least in theory, some of these teachings, and then when the chance comes, you practice it. So some of the teachings are like that. But breath and loving kindness are very important. You should know this because the Buddha used breath and that brought him awakening. The modern teachers tend to compete with each other to make their methods unique. That's not very helpful, unfortunately, because it's just to kind of get followers. The idea is to teach the Dharma, right? The method is breath meditation. You know, if only the teachers would all teach the same thing, wonderful. So that's one thing we're lacking in Buddhism today. Every teacher tries to make their approach unique to them. And also we always say, oh, this teacher teaches this, that teacher teaches that. You know? And that's not very good. It just shows that that's the end of Dhamma. That's the Dhamma ending age already, right? During the Buddha's time, you find the monks are kind of, their teachings overlap, interconnect, reflect each other. That's the way it should be. But try your best anyway. Whatever you're following, practice it, and then sooner or later you find when you see something clearly, you will go beyond all this sectarian narrowness. You will do that. I'm quite positive about that. Okay, any other question?
Yeah, thank you, Brother Piya. There are no more questions in the meeting chat box at the moment. Brother and sister, if you would like to ask question, you can unmute yourself now.
10 minutes more. So at this point in life, don't assume anything. Yeah? You have the time while you're still healthy, do some exercise, watch your diet, make friends, talk to people, and you find that helps a lot. You know, that is a great way to be a Buddhist. Yeah? Of course, there are negative people, just avoid them. Just learn to say no, basically. Sometimes you find just around you, you know, there are people who just need you as a friend, and you just tell them something simple, it'll help them a lot. They'll be very happy. I have in our place here, at certain times in the evening, in the night especially, you have this very interesting group of people who will appear downstairs in the void deck and playground to feed the cats. They'll come very quietly. You won't know who they are. They'll come quietly. Suddenly, from somewhere, they'll bring out some pet food. and these cats know them. Some of these cats are very scared of other people. And these cats know them. The cat will come out and then go to them. And they really take care of these cats. It's amazing. And I hope that they are nice to people also in the same way. It'd be wonderful to know. Yeah, if you chat with them about cats, they are very friendly to you too. So there's always something to talk about.
Here's me, Piya.
Yeah.
You want some people to share their experience? Someone from our class?
Oh, yes. we have about 5 more minutes. Now this is just impromptu, okay? I was wondering, Tom, would you just like to say something about how we became friends? How you came in touch with the early Buddhism, with Dhamma? Just random thoughts, 5 minutes.
Oh my. Well, I had been very interested in the concept of meditation, and I had no access to any kind of teacher. This was back in the mid-60s, so you couldn't go to a bookstore and ask about meditation because they wouldn't know what you were talking about, and they might think you were strange. Well, I guess I was strange. And then I heard about transcendental meditation. And, you know, I didn't know the difference between Buddhism and Hinduism. And I thought it was all the same thing. And I learned to do TM. I learned to teach TM. I spent a lot of time as one of Maharishi's secretaries. And it's like the handle of the ads. You see how it's worn, and that tells you something. And spending a lot of time with Maharishi, well, Mahesh, I learned a lot that he wasn't teaching, but that was still there. And so I let go of that. Well, tried to let go, drifted into Zen meditation, which I liked the discipline, and that wasn't doing it. And this was just after I retired in 2003. I was just looking on the computer, surfing the net, as we said a long time ago. And I ran across this guy who had this, I don't know, it was called Dharma Farers. And I thought, what a strange title. So I just looked at what was there. And back in 2003, there wasn't very much there, not like now. And I thought, oh,
we're just beginning at a time.
yeah, and I was just beginning to discover Buddhism, the real Buddhism. And
I mean, it's amazing. Tom started with us when we started, and he knew what we were doing.
well, when the teacher is ready, the student appears. And there I was. And so I have a huge collection of so many things that I have printed out and read. And completely aside from this, when I was at university, I spent a lot of time in the theater acting. And at one point, I suddenly couldn't memorize lines anymore. It just was like, didn't matter how many times I repeated it, I couldn't remember the lines anymore. Well, that kind of ended my acting career. And so now when I'm reading the suttas, I could write out in the margin because I have very tiny handwriting. Probably part of my psychological baggage somewhere. So I go to the online Pali dictionary and I copy out the meaning of that word and I paste it in the text, as it were, so that the next time I read it and I come to that word that I can't remember what it means, well, there it is. I printed it out. And that's how I've been studying. And of course, my very tiny handwriting fills up the margins with what I'm thinking about as I'm reading. And I try to write down what I understand the meaning is. And then the next time I look at that, I can say, oh, that's what I thought it meant. But now I realize it. Well,
Well, okay.
you've kept me very busy since I retired,
Yeah,
and I thank you very much for that.
that's wonderful.
Now
Tom.
I'm doing all the right things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Well, Tom is one of our longest, and I also must say, oldest student since 2003. We started in 2002. So you
And I'm 80 years old, so that
Yes.
also is part of one of your oldest students, I suspect.
Yes. And Tom is from Canada, so he's been in touch with us very regularly. So I finally managed to get him to join us on Zoom, and I'm so happy I can see him finally. So here we are, a small family of Dhamma Ferris. All right, that's wonderful. So now I finally got you to talk, and I'm very happy. And so we'll end here today. Once again, let us reflect on this wonderful occasion of friendship, of learning. And remember, today we've gathered together to recite the 3 refuges and 5 precepts, and do some meditation, listen to the Dharma, and ask questions. By the power of all these good deeds, may you be well and happy. And it's the time to send your kind thoughts to yourself and those people who are significant to you. Picture them in mind now and send your kind thoughts to them. And now we bow in gratitude to the 3 jewels, which has brought us such great happiness. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supati Panno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.